got a GoPro and you feel like you're about to die, you might as well take the opportunity to say a few last words. So we're 15 days out from the start of the race to Alaska, and this is where I'm at mentally. You know, these things are supposed to get easier with time and with experience, and this has gotten no easier for me. I still continuously and daily kind of battle the anxiety.
So about the last month leading up to the race, it seems like every obstacle that you could imagine that could get in the way did get in the way. Injury after injury to his back, pain, twists and stuff. Nothing major, but just enough to slow him down the progress from training. But it never stopped him. You know, you can't keep him down. As much as I would love to say, don't paddle, and I say it every once in a while, don't do this. You don't have to go out there. I'll turn around and go, you know, you got to keep going. It's okay.
So there's something very comforting about knowing that I've got a hometown shop that I can go to get all the things that I need for this trip, in terms of safety equipment, in terms of stuff for the board, in terms of stuff just for survival and being on the water. And that's why I'm here at Ron John's.
Josh, it is so great to see
Hello,
you again.
Debbie. How are you?
Good. Are you ready for the big trip to Alaska?
Oh, wow. I don't know. Been training hard, but, you know, a lot of anxiety. You know, this one's a lot bigger than me.
I understand, but you've always told me it's one paddle stroke at a time, and I am sure you have just got this one.
You're right, Debbie. I got this. Just need to get on the water one more time. We're taking off tomorrow, and I just want to go for a little paddle and go hit the beach. So one of the things I mentally rehearse, and this may sound crazy, but you know, I go through the race from start to finish, and I literally visualize and see myself failing in every possible way that I can imagine. You know, whether I get too tired, or I break all my paddles, or something happens to my board, or an orca comes out of the water, or a shark bites my leg, or jellyfish sting me to death, and I'm a failure, and I totally blew it, and the world is watching. And what I find is at the end of every time I go through that sequence, at the end of that, I'm still here. I've still given it my all. My mission hasn't changed. My purpose hasn't changed, and it's okay. And what that allows me to do is to just succeed. You know, I've faced every possible failure that could come up, and so that's one of the ways that I battle that anxiety and meditate through it.
The Race to Alaska is a 750-mile boat race from Port Townsend, Washington to Ketchikan, Alaska, with no engines and no support.
This is my mission, to paddle the Race to Alaska, 750 miles to Ketchikan.
And the interesting thing about his choice of vessel is that he's got a lot of restrictions that other vessels don't necessarily have. His carrying capacity is reduced down to what he can stick into a dry bag. There's no way he can even carry enough water to last him a couple days, because when he stops paddling, the boat stops moving. It's not like a sailboat that you can relax, conserve your energy when the wind is just right. So part of his journey is going to be planning how to survive with very, very little, much less than most people.
The equipment rehearsals are so important, because you hit the beach, unpack, and if you're not
If you're not careful, next thing you know, it's an equipment bomb and you're gonna spend hours trying to figure things out. And when you're exhausted, it's not the time to be trying to figure those things out. So my boy Charlie is very, very nervous about all this packing going on. He thinks we're going on a trip. He sees the paddleboard and it's making him crazy. He's ready to go with me and he'll be all right. He's gonna go home with Mom and I'll see you in about 30 days, right, buddy? Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
I want to thank you all for coming out in the 4th year of this race. It is fantastic. We got newcomers, we got returners, and we got all kinds of craft. We got 2 stages, right? Stage 1, Port Townsend to Victoria's Inner Harbor. Anything between the two is acceptable, except for one rule that we started employing last year, and you will be hearing about it soon. You have 36 hours to make it there. Seems easy, but usually a few people don't every year.
And here we are again, the race to Alaska. I made him promise to let's stay on land next time, but I am quite terrified. I want to know that I've got Wi-Fi connection and that I can track him on the spot and know that he's moving when he needs to be moving, because it's not easy. It's race day. Josh is ready. Got some good sleep last night, and I think I'm ready for this. I'm not real sure, but we're gonna find out.
The race is now. I'm here in Port Townsend, and it's just one paddle stroke at a time from here. So I guess let's start on day 1, because that's going to be the hardest piece of this, obviously, because of the time restraint.
And it's the qualifier, so and it also is one of the most open bodies of water you're going to experience, and the seas tend to stack a lot right here against tide, and you could be facing 6-foot seas on a 10-second period, which is, as you know, pretty steep.
Yeah.
I think Josh is going to have a lot of challenges, just like most racers. Some of the big challenges, I think, for a stand-up paddleboard is going to be in stage 1. It's a 40-mile crossing from Port Townsend to Victoria. A lot of exposure. You get really far from land, 20 miles from land. That's going to have a lot of inherent danger if the wind comes up.
I'm ready for him to get to the other side. This is a quick, easy 40 miles. We do this on the weekends.
It was not enjoyable. The paddle was not enjoyable at all. It was freezing cold. We came out of Port Townsend, and it was standing up 6-7 footers, and so naturally because they're standing up very steep, the board doesn't go over them. So you just eat a lot of them, and all the wave just comes over the board, and sometimes it takes you off with it. So I started getting cold around about 30 minutes in, and knew this was going to be a long day. Nothing like getting wet. It's gonna get rough again. It's gonna get rough again.
To even make this crossing, this first initial crossing in an engineless boat, in my eyes is heroic.
This is real. The sea is forever. The whole time you're thinking, this is not the race. This is the proving ground. This is just to show you can get across the hardest part of this race. It's harder than anything else. And then you're gonna do 750 miles. So I didn't want to burn anything. So I was just taking my time and trying to relax. So when I saw the lighthouse, I knew I was in that final stretch. Plus, I'm going to get out of the wind, finally have the wind at my back for a mile and a half. All the folks are yelling at you from the dock and from the lighthouse. So it's an amazing feeling. And also because they know what you're doing. The folks here in Victoria know what you're doing.
I remember back probably over 4 years ago when Josh was suicidal. I remember thinking, seeing all the signs and knowing that he wouldn't be with us any longer if I didn't make the call.
Can you maneuver well enough with the rudder if you did that?
I found myself in a very, very dark place. My family was affected, and I was blind to it all and deaf due to multiple traumatic brain injuries during my military service and PTS.
And during his recovery, he knew that he wanted to do something to help others.
That was the beginning of my Torrent. That violent flood of water or emotion that overwhelms a soldier after they retire, when they get out and are going to do better things in their civilian world.
Josh, yeah. So you're ex-military?
I am.
No, good.
You?
Ex-Air Force.
Air Force, right on.
No special.
It was the connection. And it was, he knew that all that we needed were everyday citizens, veterans, it doesn't matter, connecting with our veterans and reaching out to them to see if they needed help, to see if there was anything that they could do for them.
Connection is the cure. This is Operation Torrent.
I think that his overall largest goal would be to connect all of these great charities and bring an overwhelming awareness to veteran suicide.
Obviously, I'm paddling to finish this race, but it's not the most important race to finish. And I know there's guys out there who are contemplating ending it all in some way, and I know because I've been there, and I know because we still have that awful 22-a-day statistic. My goal is that this will inspire you in some way to put the next paddle stroke in, that you're not alone, that I know I'm not alone when I'm out here, and sometimes it feels very, very alone, that there is a shoreline I'm gonna reach, that there are people there on that shoreline that are gonna help me, and there are people cheering for me to make it, and that want me to make it, and that need me to make it, and I hope that we can do this together.
That's why I've chosen to be in the race to Alaska. Paddle this 750 miles to inspire and save lives.
This is a long journey, and it's hard for me to see him out there, knowing he's out there, possibly giving his life. But it's a bigger purpose. It's bigger than us. It's for all the lives that he can save. If it's just one, it's worth it.
Today's race started in the traditional Le Mans style, where they did a countdown. The countdown was preceded by all of the participants in the race running as fast as they could to their vessels, jumping in them, casting off the lines with some air in that, and taking off and having to human power their way out of Victoria Harbor, since sailing is not allowed. You have to row or human power out of the harbor. Because of that, there was also a favorable condition for Josh, because he was able to jump in and paddle and do what he does best, is paddle, whereas the sailboats were at a disadvantage because they're bigger, heavier, bulkier.
Whoop, whoop, woo!
We watched the sunset, we watched the sunrise, and we're paddling on. Yeah, I've got about 2 hours sleep, I think. Not the best, but it's good enough to continue mission. And we're paddling on.
Just on the north side of Galliano. Just gonna stop here and eat some breakfast. Try to find some water. There were some moments that I couldn't even recall what I was doing. You know, so I know when you get tired, you know, your memory lags. But as I sat down to eat, I was having trouble figuring out where I was and why I was there. It was a little nerve-wracking and scary. Headed into Dodd Pass and out into Georgia Strait and up to Seymour Narrows. I gotta look how much further. I think it's probably about 100 miles. Yesterday was an important day for me because I was able to stop with control and make sure that I got rest. And this is what you got to do every time you camp with 14-foot tides. From the beach here, I'm launching back. Felt like I slept too long, but I needed it. I knew when I got up. I slept for about an hour or two, and then I realized that I needed more sleep. I couldn't remember some things and was having trouble. That's the hardest part of this for me, is the discipline to stop. And I've got to get sleep. And no matter how important the mission is, I got to make sure that I'm taking care of me. And
So we're back on the water, and I'm not gonna let it go that long again. Gotta make sure I stay rested. We're still into our second 24. So I'm not feeling too bad. So on this second 24, I've already got about 10, 12 miles knocked out. Let's see what I can do by noon. I'm headed out to sea, making a big crossing. I think it's 60, 70 miles to Campbell River, and the wind is really favorable. I might even put up my sail. It's just a real quick update. Beautiful sunset. I'm paddling into that. You can see the water is just glass, and so I'm gonna get some more paddling in. I feel pretty good, and I'll stop to sleep at some point, but I'm gonna make some more distance. This is how I catch a quick power nap out here. I've been paddling for 12 hours, and so I figured I could use a little break and then keep going. Usually it's a little wave comes over and wakes me up. This is the mouth of Johnstone Strait and Seymour Narrows, which I'll be taking off for tomorrow. Right now, all I'm thinking about is a bacon double cheeseburger with lots of mayo. Yes!
I was blindsided when I received a call from the Race to Alaska committee and the race boss, Daniel, questioning my health, ability, and judgment making from the Everglades Challenge.
Yeah, I mean, one of the concerns I had when Josh came and decided that he wanted to do the Race to Alaska was he was doing it for some very good reasons. And one of them was around awareness and treatment of TBI or traumatic brain injury. One of the concerns that I had with Josh is that, and he's been very open about it, but he has had a lot of concussions that have affected his balance, that have kind of affected his horizons, and affected him in ways that I'm not aware of. So how is that going to be when you were 100 miles into the wilderness with no one around you, with no aid? And so I did have a lot of concerns about how Josh would be able to operate in those conditions.
My situation might have just gotten worse. Sun might be too low. I have to move up higher ground and try to finish this real quick. Because the tide came up again. So I'm literally in the trees. My board is freaking busted. I'm gonna have to put a, I don't even have enough to repair up front. That one's broke too. But I've made the repair in the back. This has gone from bad to worse. How's that for first night on Johnstone Strait? Woo!
Northwest 10 to 20. This morning, then increasing to northwest 20 to 30 this afternoon.
The thing you gotta realize when you come out here is that after you leave port, nothing will ever be dry again. This stuff was not always so difficult for me. It's very difficult now. Everyone forgets things. I understand. I'm not being ridiculous about that. It's just, it doesn't have to be at this level. Just dumb mistake after dumb mistake after dumb mistake. That's not who I am. Welcome to Johnstone Strait. It's a battle, huh? All right. We knew it. It's all right. I'll give a little. But I'm gonna take a lot. I wish I could be paddling, but you listen out there. That's why I'm not paddling. Tide changes at 0-4 and get back on it. Until then, I'm gonna get a good night's sleep. Something tells me it's gonna be another long day. I'm getting knocked in just even on my knees or on my ass. It is blowing hard. There's a little spot on shore I'm trying to get to. Everything else is cliffs. Oh, shit. Just getting my butt kicked. So this is the second camp I made. I've been sleeping on the board or taking a little nap on the beach. This is probably the hardest part of this whole thing. I can paddle, but making camp and getting organized and finding everything again, putting everything back in the right places and remembering where everything is, that's probably the toughest part. So maybe I need to make camp more often. Feeling a little bit of exhaustion this morning. Just real deep fatigue. And just trying to paddle through it. Camera's shaking. I'm shaking. Trying to paddle through it and just kind of got to the point of, okay, better sit down. back down. I also don't want to pass out. Splash! Be awake then. Waking up slowly. And not a big deal.
We got to get to Bella Bella, get the board fixed. The board's still taking on water. Got to get it fixed properly so I can continue. We're still 20 miles out. It's compass only, fogged over. A little bit of a crossing here. Can't see anything. Lots of great challenges. Just keep on trucking. It maybe it's gotten as bad as it can get. I'm not dead. It's the mental struggles. It's the memory that I'm fighting. I nearly lost my compass again. I left the beach. I had to come back. Search through all my stuff out on the board. Search the beach. This would have been it. I have another compass. And I don't have another GPS. It's not the paddling that's killing me. Between here and here. I feel very, very defeated right now. I'm also, filming all this and I've lost 2 GoPros today. Just stupidity. This is not who I once was, and I would like to have back just a piece of who I once was.
And we want to make sure that all teams are as best prepared, both in skills and in equipment, as they can be before they start the race. And I think a lot of that was alleviated in both talking with Josh. I mean, his experience and his background is pretty unique and pretty incredible, and he's used to working in environments where he is the only thing he can rely on. I had a chance to talk with one of his neurologists, and a neurologist that happened to have done the Inside Passage a number of times, which was pretty fortunate because we had a chance to talk about those elements that Josh may be facing, and he was very honest in believing that Josh is in a place of his rehabilitation that he is more than capable of doing this race.
Where's Sheartown?
Shearwater?
Shearwater.
You're right around the corner. You can go to Shearwater or Bella Bella.
So I heard there's a fiberglass guy there. Heard of Murphy's Law, right? Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. There's R2AK law. Everything will go wrong. I've experienced it all.
Hey, we came here, got here to Shearwater, and got a hotel room. She kind of comes down. She's the general manager, and then that was it. It was all over. I was being cared for, hand and foot.
And my front desk girl said there's this poor bastard in room 101 whose hands look like mittens and his feet are all swollen up and he needs some ice and can we do something and blah blah blah. So I went in and took one look at him.
This is what a trench foot looks like. This is from immersion. You know, so basically your skin just begins to slough off.
So then just went and got him some ice. And then my girl Lindsay and I went into his room to do it as what we would call a stay. And we've just had tree planters here for 3 weeks and we thought we had seen it all. And then we went into Josh's room. So I literally approach every room I do and I tell these girls, when you're doing a stay, make like you're their mom. I thought he was gonna be mad at me. I caught him at the door and said, please don't be mad, I didn't throw anything important away, I promise.
And I came in and everything it was in the dry room. My laundry is done. It's pretty amazing. They hung everything, they put everything with stuff where it goes, and now all I have to do is sort it out. It's been, I mean, she's just an angel. I mean, she literally put a chair here and saw I was hurting and just tended. There's just people like this in the world. Where do you find them?
And it wasn't just me. When he went into the bar and grill, I know that the girls in there went and bought him some Vaseline because his lips were all dry, and somebody made sure he got breakfast this morning after breakfast had finished serving and whatnot, and that's what Shearwater does.
We are ready to go. It's day 17 of the race. Been here in Shearwater for 2 days. I've been so blessed. So many people have helped me to get back into this race and get back into gear. You can see, got the rear fin. This thing is bomb-proof now. It's been glassed back over. We're gonna be leaving here in just a few short hours. I've got 300 miles to go to Ketchikan. I've got to get there well before the 9th. That's when my flight is, and I got 3 really important reasons. 1, my mission and purpose for veterans. 2, my son is getting married and I'm the best man, and I think that's on the 12th in North Carolina. And 3, one of my middle daughters is having a grandbaby and she is due anytime, and I got to get back to see my grandbaby.
What do I think? Drive, sacrifice, it's a great mission. It's a great mission.
I can't stop pissing. I've got extremely foul smelling urine. I'm just pissing constantly. It's a little nerve-wracking. I don't know what my body's going through right now, but it's going through something. I keep pissing them. My legs are solid cramps now. I sent the non-emergency help button, I guess, about 45 minutes ago. I don't know. Half an hour ago, I don't know.
If you got a GoPro and you feel like you're about to die, you might as well take the opportunity to say a few last words.
Unfortunately, our satellite phone got a text message from Tanya, Josh's wife, that he had activated an SOC on the spot tracker. Now, an SOC doesn't mean he's in imminent danger. It just means that he has a need for help.
So the one promise that I had Josh make me is that he would make it home, because he has to see his new grandbaby and make it to his son's wedding, her son's wedding. And because we have a lot to look forward to, and I just want him to be safe and come home.
We quickly did plan B, which was to get on the radio, the very high frequency radio, the VHF, and call him. No response, so we turned the boat around immediately. We immediately throttled up to maximum cruising speed, which is around hull speed, and we raced back to the location that the spot tracker had indicated Josh was at last. Upon getting within visual sight of the beach with binoculars, we noticed the silhouette of Josh's stand-up paddleboard up on the beach, and it appeared to be accompanied by 3 or 4 kayaks with their distinctive bright colors, yellow and orange. As we got closer and closer, the radio cracked to life, and Josh was on the other end. Also, we have the satellite phone aboard, so if you want to call a physician or a doctor to figure out maybe what you're experiencing, that might be a prudent move.
That sounds good. Is this more?
He briefly explained to us that he had some issues, wasn't sure what they were. His legs were cramping up, they were becoming immobile. Luckily there was 3 gals that had come to his rescue and were helping him. They assisted him with some electrolytes, and they kept him comfortable while he waited for the one of the big tracker boats to get there. After getting to it in a safe distance, we deployed the dinghy into the water and took the film crew into the beach.
It's a big deal. Yeah, I mean, we'll figure out something to do with the...
We immediately assessed the situation and found Josh to be in more of a serious condition than we were comfortable with. We loaded him into the dinghy and took him out to the boat, while the other half of the film crew packed up the gear and the board, got it all ready.
You know, I think one of the most brave things any man can do, especially a veteran, is to know when they need help. The fact that he was able to make that decision is in a way finishing the race.
And we brought everything to the boat and raced to the hospital in Bella Bella. Brian, come here and hold this fender right here in between the boats. At around 11:30 to midnight, we arrived in Bella Bella. Darkness had fallen, and we were faced with the challenge of getting Josh from the boat at the marina all the way to the hospital, which is a little under a mile away. With the help of the film crew, myself, and a good Samaritan from Bella Bella, we were able to get Josh across the precarious dock, up the ramp, and into the truck. We were then able to take him in the truck to the hospital to get him the proper care he needed. We were told that Josh would be fine now in the hospital, and we would be awaiting the blood tests in the morning to find out what had actually happened to him.
You know, it's rote to say everything happens for a reason, but you know, I'll tell you, I'm pretty fortunate that it wasn't that it hadn't gotten dark yet, and that they were there to assist, because this all moved very fast. So I'm in the hospital now, and they're treating me for cellulitis in the left leg, and that's with IV antibiotics. I'm on my 3rd set. And my whole leg is just kind of locked up in infection between the knee, the ankle, and my thigh. And I'll be on those for a little while, trying to get better. And my mission here was to complete the race to Alaska, but it was also to show that it's the most important thing to go ahead and start the race, more than anything else. Then the finish really doesn't matter. The second part is knowing when to ask for help, and that
all my veteran brothers and sisters out there, when facing those difficulties, and especially when he gets to the point of rehearsing with a gun to your head, it's time to ask for help. And it's completely and perfectly okay. And it's the right thing to do. Ask for help.
See you next year.